Ooh, that looks tasty.
Welcome, folks, to the Hung Gamers, back with our second episode of Boards and Brews. And today I'm joined by Bairnt Dittler of Meet Me at the table. And first off, Bairnt, what brew do you have today? I have a nice Kona beer.
Oh, really? Well, today I have this Oktoberfest it's a bunch of German words. Sadly, if I tried to pronounce them, I would screw it up terribly. So it is an Oktoberfest, and it's actually a really good one. It's kind of like an Oktoberfest with a Pilsnery added to it. So I really
Now,
enjoy this
you could try to pronounce it. It'll just be like your new names for your Kingdom Death characters.
one. Very true. I'm slowly running out of names since people keep on dying. I wish they would not. I wish they would stop dying.
So, first question. We always start with this with first-time guests. It's a 4-part question.
Four parts. All right.
Four
Hopefully
parts.
I get four out of four. That's my goal.
All right, so 1, who the crap are you? 2,
Who?
what is your channel? 3, what is your shtick, and how and why did you get started reviewing?
Oh my gosh. All those are fantastic questions. I've got like multiple stories for all of those, except I'll try to keep it at least somewhat small. All right. So who am I? Well, my name is Bairnt. I'm actually, I have had many experiences in my life and done many things. Right now I'm an OR nurse. I work at a surgery center. We do a lot of eyes.
Oh, are you?
I am a nurse. It's amazing. We have a lot of fun. So we do a lot of operations. It's a lot of fun to be in the operating room. It's been a dream of mine to be there. Ever since I was young, I wanted to be a surgeon, but well, that didn't pan out as well as I was hoping because there's a lot of schooling involved and I wasn't too focused. But as time went on, I went through college. We actually got to go to the Peace Corps for a couple of years, went to Poland and taught English for a couple of years. That was found out where I did not want to be a teacher, though my mom was a teacher, and that was something I was thinking about, but decided not to go that route and went back to the medical field. And lo and behold, then I found board games and video games and all those fun activities outside of life. And that's kind of who I am, I guess. It's kind of a roundabout hodgepodge of getting to where I am now. But I did find my way, and I found of course, I'm married, 2 kids, absolutely fantastic home life. We enjoy ourselves a lot. Even through COVID, we've been able to play a lot of games, hang out together, and just be a family. It's been actually really enjoyable, even though there's a lot of really hard things going on in this world right now. But aside from that, what is your channel? My channel is a board game channel. I know you're absolutely amazed by that. I do a lot
I
of
mean, we were hoping for, a horror stories of the OR room channel.
horror stories of the OR channel.
Fully animated.
That's
Which
going to
would
be the
basically
new
just
one.
be Kingdom Death, right?
Yep, that's why I like Kingdom Death so much. It reminds me of no, it doesn't at all. It's not even close. I'm not gonna make it sound bad. No, no. Yes, that would be my second channel actually. We'll do horror stories of the OR. But let's see here. I should say, solo and co-op board games, mainly because I'm the only person doing it, so it's hard to do competitive stuff. And I don't really do competitive stuff. Even with my family, I try to stay away from competitive stuff. We have 2 boys. They are awfully competitive as they are. I hear a lot of "I'm going to hit that Ridley" and things like that. So we decided to kind of keep things more lighthearted and enjoyable to the family. Uh,
Is Ridley named after the character from Metroid?
That's funny you should mention that. Actually, no, he's named after Ridley Scott. My wife actually came down the stairs and saw a picture of the Alien poster I had up, and she goes, "Ridley Scott, Ridley. Would that be a pretty good name?" And I thought, you want to name my kid after the director of one of my favorite movies of all time? Totally on board. Let's do it. So that's how he got his name. Was because of Ridley Scott. It's stuck. It's perfect. My wife's also a teacher, so she's seen many different names come through her doors. So sometimes it's a little tough for her to pick names, some bad connotations, good connotations. So it's just how it is. I don't know. That's what she told me when I named out a couple names. She went, no. But we got some great names for our kids, and we're happy to have them. It's been a lot of fun with these kids. Now, let's see here. To co-op solo, it's all I do. Don't do competitive. What's my stick? I guess my shtick is that I'm excited for board games, and I'm excited to bring them to everybody else that is around and able to watch and play them. I guess one of the things is I had so many games that were campaign and solo and cooperative driven that I didn't have enough time to play them. There weren't a lot of people that were coming to play these games, but they kept compiling up and up and up. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to start recording them. And so that was one of the ways that I decided to keep bringing these games to people. Now, that brings me to why did I create my channel? Fun story. You ready for it?
You were
You might have
bored.
heard, yes, yes, you're totally bored of it by now. You might have heard of this channel called One Stop Co-op Shop. It's run by Colin and Mike, Steve and Peter, and they do a fantastic job over there. But it was originally, of course, Colin by himself when I found the channel. And at the time, he did a top 10 like dungeon crawlers. And I thought, oh, these all look pretty good. And there was an outcry to him going, hey, we haven't seen you play Myth. And finally, he kind of said, you know, I haven't played Myth. I have it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to bring it to the table. And so I reached out to him. First time I've ever reached out to a person ever through like the internet. I had never done this before. And I found out that he was in Minnesota. And so I thought, you know what? I've got a painted set of Myth. Do you want to do it on your channel? And he said, thank you for the offer, but I'm not sure I'm going to do it. So I thought, well, then I'm going to do it. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to figure out how to do this. And I'm going to create videos. If the guy who I just reached out to has a couple kids, a job, and can do this,
And wanted nothing to do with your idea.
well, it had nothing to do with Myth, that's for sure. I thought, if he can do that, I probably should be able to do that. And from that moment, I realized, you know, really anybody can do this. And I really love to help people out when it comes to trying to figure out if they can do this. It was something I looked into. I did a little bit of research, and then I just started to go. I did Myth. That was my first game. Then the Seventh Continent. I did that one because I really wanted to play that, but all my friends said, not too into it. And I went, well, then I'm going to do it on my channel. I'm just going to do that game. And so, and from then on, it's just been game after game, and it's just been a roller coaster. And it's just been such a fun roller. Actually, I shouldn't say roller coaster. That has ups and downs. This has just been a climb up. I've just been having a straight up mountain climb. It's been so much fun. I've had so much fun doing this. And I'm rambling. What about you? Tell me something about you.
Listen to the last episode. We already talked about all this mess.
All right. So that's your answer to your first question. That was 4 parts. Did I get a 4 out of 4? At least a B minus? You're a teacher, right?
Well, I don't teach math, so I don't have to know that. But so for everyone listening or watching, clearly Bairnt is all about dungeon crawls, campaign games. So that's what we're going to talk about this week. And also, we're just coming off. We just finished. It's probably not the first ever, but I'm going to say the first ever cross-channel campaign, which we did of Dungeon Alliance. And we're going to kind of wrap up the episode. We're going to talk about Dungeon Alliance and our thoughts on it, kind of somewhat reviewer style, but not really, more just personal feeling style. But the other set of questions that I started with last week, and I talked about a little bit last week, was we started with Kickstarter. Love it, hate it, why? Obviously, so for me, I love you have that that excitement about what's going on, but then the complaining starts, and it's even worse when the complaining is legitimate complaining, and this stuff starts getting delayed. Like, well, I knew it was going to be delayed. How did you not know it was going to be delayed?
It's always delayed, man. It's always delayed. There have been so few Kickstarters I've been like in backing that has actually come on time. And when they do come on time, I'm pretty happy. I'm amazed. If they're not on time, I'm in the opinion that I would rather have the producer or publisher or whoever's making this game really take the time to get that game as perfect or as good as they wanted it to be, as opposed to shipping it to when it can. I know there's like all these different factors that are just other than just, oh, I want to make this great game and it's going to be great and I'm going to take as much time as I need. I know there's other factors, money involved, time involved, because of course time is money, and so sometimes they have to push up. But if it's a little bit delayed, and I usually don't have a problem with that. I've done a lot of Kickstarters or backed a lot of Kickstarters, probably more than I should have.
Well, you did just get one that was what, 3 years late, the Diceborn Heroes.
I did. I got Diceborn Heroes. It did. That's an example of just patience. I wasn't part of the pitchforks and brooms and torches going after anybody. I know that sometimes things just don't go the way that people are hoping. There's a lot of factors that we don't know that are taking place. And I'd like to, I think one of my problems is I always have a really good heart, and I believe everybody is out to try to do good all the time. And so I know that might not be the greatest approach to have, but that's kind of how I approach everything. I think everybody has their good intentions, and I would hope that they always do.
And so clearly you're in the love it camp.
I do. It's a glorified pre-order is really how I see it. And when I get it, that's great.
It's funny talk about that we've been to things being delayed. I just backed one, and as of the day we're filming this, it's live for 5 more days, and it's got big old mechs and stuff, and it says it's going to deliver in December.
This December?
This December.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. Maybe this guy or the group that's doing it has a great plan, and it's going to happen. And if it does, more power to them.
I mean, it's IDW, so they're big.
Mm-hmm. So maybe they have a lot of it already in place and ready to go. I don't know. I don't know anything about the game, so we'll see how it all transpires.
Yeah, it looks fun. Um, I'm not going to be bent out of shape if it's delayed. Every now and then I'll get all bent out of shape and not. I'll get bummed, really bummed that it's been delayed. Like Merchant's Cove has been delayed, totally acceptable delay, but I'm super bummed. Though I got a prototype right over there, so I still get to play. No, nobody else does.
That's pretty
Actually,
good.
just the other day, I played with two of the designers on it
Nice.
because they don't have prototypes anymore because they had to send them off to potential distributors in other countries.
Huh.
See if someone else wanted to be the localized distributor. And so it sounds like I'm the only person in America with a prototype now.
Wow.
So I was playing over Zoom with two designers that are testing out some new ideas and stuff for some expansions down the road maybe. So I was sitting there with the I had the iPad in my hand, and I was logged with like an extra camera, and I'm moving that around. And yeah, it was great.
You gotta get on board with the whole. I back Vorpal. You got to get on the Vorpal board thing. That's the deal. That's going to be the real deal. I'm pretty excited for that coming out pretty soon.
But, yeah, pretty soon, 2029, right?
No, they've got it. It's coming. It's pretty much ready to go pretty soon. That's one of the Kickstarters I'm excited for. They've done a lot of it and really sped up their production because of all the COVID stuff. They're having people are doing a lot of their own games with friends through Skype and Zoom and things like that. So they're trying to get on board with that platform, and it looks really cool. I'm pretty excited for it. So, but when it comes to Kickstarters, right about now, I've got so many games. I'm totally set. If something gets delayed, when I get it, I get it. When I get it, I do an unboxing. Usually get a playthrough out as fast as I can because I'm usually pretty excited for the game that I get. If it has minis, I have to paint those minis before I put them out. That's actually one of the requirements when I started my channel was that I was going to attempt to play every game with painted minis. I had to break that rule one time, and that was for
Reichbusters.
It was Reichbusters. I had to break the rule. The reason I had to break the rule was because they have the system that is basically the unpaintable system. They created a game with an unpaintable system. The system is any game that when you play it, you can pull any enemy and put them on the board.
So just paint them all.
The case, exactly. But when you have that many miniatures, it's not going to happen real fast. If you have only a small set of miniatures that are going to be able to hit the table, but maybe you have a bunch of them, but they maybe scale in difficulty. But in this game, at any moment, anything could hit the board. So it was just so hard for me to even contemplate painting that before I played it. So that was the one rule I broke. I was like, you know what? And I've come to the decision that if games come out like that, I just have to go with it. I can maybe get the characters done, but I can't get those actual.
Yeah. Well, I started, and it's your fault actually. The painting. I started painting the characters. It was like for the last two games of my Barnacle Bay playthrough series. I just did the spray and wash and dry brush the bad guys. So that they pop a little bit. And then the heroes look that much more heroic.
Yeah.
But now I don't want to play anything if I haven't done anything to it. Like I played one game of Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion, and I had 2 days where I could play, but I spent one of them painting the two characters I decided I was going to use because I was like, I'm not doing this.
That's awesome. Oh, you have to. I have to admit, I got into painting back when I was doing. I played Warhammer Fantasy, and
I don't think I knew that. So did I. And I had my whole army painted.
Oh, did you?
Back in middle school, yeah.
Okay, I started in. Well, I'm old, so I started old when I was old. We started the end of 7th, early 8th edition, or was it 8th going into? Oh, it's 8th going to Age of Sigmar. So just recently, I guess you could say, in Warhammer world.
So right before they canceled the whole system.
pretty much, and started their whole new brand new way of doing everything completely. So of course my friend and we don't play anymore. We but I had an orc goblin army that was pretty up. Everything was painted. It was one of the things you had to paint it to play it. That was our deal with our friend. And I also have an empire army, and I had a Tomb King's army, but I sold the Tomb King's army. And
Yeah,
then
that's why I played Empires, the last one I finished on,
okay.
and I enjoyed. And I was just told someone today my biggest because they had they found a bunch of their Warhammer minis.
Hmm.
So my biggest regret when I was playing, knowing who I am now, is I didn't play pure goblins
Ah,
because they're so
they're
stupid.
fun. They're fun. I didn't play pure goblins either. I used the orcs. I had to have some oomph in there. But yeah, it was a good system. It was fun to play, but it was pretty daunting trying to paint all those minis. But I learned a lot doing it, and that was really what got me into painting. When I got into board games, and I noticed there was less minis than Warhammer. Surprise, surprise, most of the time. And it was neat to learn all these skills. And I learned everything from painting on YouTube and talking with my buddy who was pretty much doing the same thing, watching things on YouTube. And so learning all these techniques and all these things from YouTube really got me to where I was. And as the paints developed, now of course we have those contrast paints out. They're perfect for board games because you can get them on the table fast and be able to start playing. It's so good. Am I going to win any golden paintbrush or anything like that? No, I consider my painting style, what I call it is slop and drop. You slop some paint on and you drop it on the table. That's the deal. That's my painting style. I don't do anything flashy, anything exciting. Occasionally I branch out and try something different a little bit and see how it works. But a lot of times that's what I do. So yeah, I'm glad you're into painting. Painting's so much fun. It is
You know,
relaxing.
I told my buddy for Christmas um, because he's harder to if you're looking in the board game realm, it's hard to find something for him because he'll back the Kickstarter that he wants, or he'll find so it's tough. Like I've managed to. There've been some games that he's like, oh man, I really like this game, or really think I want to maybe back some Kickstarter. You think you can get it? And a couple times I've been able to actually get a prototype sent.
Nice.
You can try it. And there's one of them, and it was right when lockdown started, and it showed up, so we couldn't come to do it. And the playmat was 8 feet by 4 feet.
Oh my gosh. I think I saw that. I think you sent me a picture of that.
Yeah, yeah, because we had to play it on the floor, and because there's only two of us, I had to zoom him in. And I was doing the same thing. I had to spread it on the floor and like crawling around over the mat.
Oh my God.
And then he
That's
didn't back it.
dedication right there. Dedication right there.
It's huge. So there's been a couple of those, but I told him I was like, you know what? If you really want, if you pick one of your things, I'll do a crappy paint job on it. He's like, yeah, Rising Sun. I'm like, maybe I'm taking that offer back. That's because he has everything,
Wow.
just everything for it. I think everything, but
Yeah, that'll be an undertaking. There, that you got your project to do outside of all your work you're doing for school,
yeah.
along, of course, with Hungry Gamer. Why would?
Yeah. Oh, and of course the theater company.
Oh
So
yes, that's right. I'm guessing is that starting up soon?
no,
Oh, it's
yes and no. We're
okay.
transitioning to all digital stuff.
Okay.
Our show we were going to do in December. We've already had to cancel that one,
Okay.
shifted to a one-person show that's going to be totally filmed and online. Where we commissioned some other things that are going to be digital only. But yeah, we're hoping we'll be in a theater December 2021.
Okay, that'll be pretty cool. Yeah, we
Is our
got we have season tickets to the Children's Theater, and this year they're doing all digital productions. You can get like a key to the stream, and then you get to watch the play from home. Is what they're doing. That's how they're doing it.
yeah, so have your kids been enjoying it?
We
Watching it?
haven't actually seen any of them yet. I don't think the season started yet.
Gotcha.
If it did, I missed one of them or two.
Game. Anyhow, we're totally digressing. Everyone's like, why are they
Of
talking about their
course.
kids and
I'm not going to watch this. They're not even talking board games. They're talking theater. They're talking school. They're talking
yeah, like
nursing.
we don't care about their social
So you
lives.
know what? I play campaign games. I love campaign games. They're a lot of
Wait,
fun. Now
no, you skipped. You
I
skipped.
skipped. What I
You
skipped?
skipped. You're the biggest impulse Kickstarter you've done, and your biggest Kickstarter regret. Just a reminder,
Oh,
I
biggest
had.
thing, my biggest regret ever is Dungeon Saga. That game was garbage.
That's funny. I
And I
was
am not
just.
getting anybody that loves it on my side ever again.
That's funny because I just saw someone had a picture of it, and I was like, oh, I was like, maybe that looks kind of interesting. Maybe I'll try to find it. I guess now I'm not. Did you do a video?
I did not. This was way before I started the channel. This was back when I had a couple of guys that would play dungeon crawlers with me, and we tried this one out. And it had a simplistic D6 system, I think the biggest problem I had with the game was the fact that I didn't recognize how much of a one versus many it was going to be, and that just instantly kills anything for me. Like we were playing Myth together, which is a completely cooperative dungeon crawler, and then I got Dungeon Saga, and I'm thinking this is going to be our next one. This is going to be. It's supposed to be like what do you call it? Which again, didn't even think about it. Hero Quest in a bot, new Hero Quest from Mythic Games. No, it wasn't Mythic Games. Who was it? It was anyway. I forget who it is. It might have been them. Can't remember exactly. And I thought this is going to be when. Then when I thought it's going to be like Heroes Quest, well, that's a one versus many, and I didn't even think about that. So here I'm expecting this fully fun co-op game or something that's similar that isn't going to be. And it found out all it was them trying to figure out how they can beat me before I destroy their mage. Because the other three characters were a lot harder to kill. So I just tried to figure out how to kill the mage. And I thought, not digging just I'm going to go kill the mage, and they're going to try to kill me. And so that was my biggest regret. Sold that thing pretty quick.
Yeah, gosh, I really don't like one versus many in general.
No.
Now I say I'm waiting for one, Valor and Villainy, but that just seems like a lighthearted one versus many. And I'll play one versus many. It's going to be over in an hour.
Right.
I mean, like I don't. But yeah.
The campaign one versus many, that just didn't fly with us at all, and it was really hard for us.
Really hurt feelings. I mean, not necessarily really hurt feelings, but like.
Mm-hmm.
And then
it didn't. Even the production quality on it wasn't as polished as I just experienced with Myth. Myth was a pretty polished game and had some really good components, and their components weren't even that great. But of course, a lot may have changed with them. I know they put out some expansions for it, and some. I think they have a solo mode for it now that I haven't even tried. So who knows? It might have gotten a lot better. But the time I backed that and got it in my hands, that was probably my biggest regret so far. Impulse buy from Kickstarter. Oh, I died. All of them are impulse buys. I hit the button. Bonk, buy now.
All in, right?
Right, all in, always all in. I would have to say the biggest any impulse buy would be something from me that I don't watch the videos for earlier, and I just read about it and go, you know what, that sounds totally cool. Boom, I'm in. I've had to stop myself many times from doing that and watching a little bit of recording on some of them before I do impulse buys, because some of those impulse buys can be kind of expensive. Some aren't. What was one? It's a hard question. I mean, I don't have to go through my 200 some Kickstarters I've gotten here. I don't even know how many. An absolute ridiculous number. I'm out of control. 75. Not probably as bad as some people, but going through them, the impulse. There's not many because a lot of them are usually dungeon crawlers. So I do a lot of my research on it before I really get in because they're not cheap. None of these dungeon crawlers are cheap at all by any means. Which one was I totally upset about when I got it? Or at least an impulse buy for me. Well, there's one down here. I know what it is. There was one Hex MMO trading card game. There you go. So I had backed Myth, I'd backed Kingdom Death, and I had backed Arcadia Quest, and all these games these are some of my beginnings of my Kickstarter career. And I saw this, it's Hex MMO. This looks kind of cool. It was an online MMO RPG like card game. What was I thinking? It's not even a board game. Why would I hit the go button on that? So I guess that was probably my impulse buy. But it was very early in my Kickstarter career.
Have you played it?
Oh, that's the funny thing. I loaded up the beta for it, played it. Then I actually got a chance to try the game. I tried the game once, didn't exactly understand what was going on. And by the time I came back to it, which was, I think, years later, they had said that my account had expired. Thank you for all your support. And I thought, you know what? I'm glad I helped that guy get to his dream because and sometimes that's just how you're going to have to do it. It wasn't a ton to get into, so it was just nice to see that he got his dream. It wasn't my thing. I did it on an impulse, and I'm glad it helped him out.
Yeah, what I said last week, my biggest impulse and one of my two biggest regrets was Street Masters.
Oh.
Because I people already listened last week, their last time that they know this, but I had resisted. I didn't back it.
Yeah.
I late pledged because I was backing Alter Quest.
Oh, sure.
And I liked the idea. And I was like, oh well, this one I'll get this one quick.
Yeah.
Comparatively. And I don't know. I mean, I played it maybe 10, 20 times, and then
at least you got the plays in. It's kind
Yeah,
of
and
like
then I sold it.
renting a video game.
But it was just way too much stuff. It
You
was
rented a
so
board game.
much.
That's what you
Yeah,
did. You went to the store, you rented the board game, and then you gave it back. You
pretty
sold
much.
it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like renting a board game.
No, it's just way too much. But let's talk about a real topic here.
Real
Which
topic. So
is,
that the first half of the if for those of you that got to hear the timestamp, okay, perfect. Now let's talk games.
yeah.
Game game.
Don't
Dungeon
talk
crawler.
about because that feels like every podcast I listen to. That's the format, right? Like you
Oh,
have your banter and talk about whatever, and then you talk
yeah.
about like a topic, and then you talk about a game, right? So,
That's how you do it. But maybe you should go outside the box next time. We'll talk about pasta and things like that.
oh wow, well, it's boards and brews, right? So
Oh, that's right, brews. We're talking about
yeah,
brews. I
I'm
don't
waiting for
drink
the
brews.
first person to come on and be like, no, coffee's my brew or tea or something like that. But
Sure, there's people out there, that's for sure.
yeah, but then nobody's claimed it
Nobody
yet
said that
out
to
of
us.
the two people. Um, but we're talking dungeon crawls, and we kind of broke it down into a few different ways to look at it. So one of the kind of the big things now is the campaign, but there are some dungeon crawls out there that it's a one shot. You go, you play it once, and you're done.
Yeah,
Um, so
far in between, but there are.
yeah, so thoughts.
Thoughts? Do I like Shadows of Kilforth? Yes. One shot. I would consider that almost a dungeon crawlery type thing. You're moving around, your guys getting more powerful. Of course, they had some bumps and hiccups. I enjoy it. I think it's great. Are there some flaws? Of course, there's flaws. There's flaws in every game. So one shot dungeon crawl, I liked. Dungeon Alliance one shot dungeon crawl, I liked. I thought that was pretty good. We had a great time playing that with you. And we'll get to that one further on in our discussion, I'm sure. But as for campaigns, that's really where my heart is. I love campaigns, and it's again one of the reasons I started the channel. I needed to get those campaign games in me. I needed to get them out. I needed to get them played, and they were sitting up there collecting dust. Arcadia Quest kind of had a campaign. That was kind of one of our original go-to games with my group. But again, short campaign. It was only like 4 or 5 missions. You're done. But you're also it was the semi co-op. So again, that's another topic in itself. You could almost say I do have a few of those, and I enjoy them from time to time. But I do enjoy the campaigns. If you've seen my top videos of my channel, I would say over half of them are campaign games. Easy.
Yeah,
Madara hits number 1, man.
yeah, so it's interesting because I have found because one of my favorite dungeon crawls is Wander, which is, I mean, truth be told, it's not the most brilliant game, but it's light and it's throw some dice and it's easy to manage and it's got an interesting story and fun character and it's so much fun. And I've now played through the whole campaign twice. I did it once with my wife, which was a huge one because she actually really enjoyed playing it. She doesn't have any idea what it's called. She calls it the polar bear game because she played the polar bear with the big old hammer and would run around smashing
Awesome.
things. Um,
But she'd like
but
Oathsworn then. You could be a big bear smashing things.
so it might be too dark. She might not like it. It might be too dark.
I don't think it's
Um,
gonna be that dark. It might have some parts that might be a little rough, but overall,
uh,
just the situation of that game, I can see being a little dark. But I don't know.
we will see. Um, but now I have more of an interest in going back and playing that one shot because it's set up to where it's, oh, you want to play this mission? Just one shot? Well, here, take this much treasure and go.
Hmm.
Which I think is a really cool little way to do it. So if you finish your campaign, and you still want to play. I mean, I got no desire to play Gloomhaven again. I beat it. I'm done.
Yep,
Like I'm one of the few, the proud ones who beat freaking Gloomhaven.
I'm really close,
Um,
really close. Sadly, COVID hit, so I'm waiting for my group to jump back in together, and we're gonna finish it. We're so close.
you're not close.
Yeah, we'll see.
Like we magically somehow took almost a straight line.
Nice.
Like dumb luck.
Dumb luck.
We meandered once into side quest territory, but then we just went. Whoosh, we
Nice.
just randomly went straight through to the end, and it still took us over 2 years. Uh,
Yep.
so that one I don't have any desire to go back and just do like a one-off. But point
Right.
being, like, those kind of one-offs kind of jump back in are interesting to me. Like Alter Quest, I'm excited about that, which I know has some kind of a campaign, but
Hmm.
not really. It seems like it's mostly like they kind of put in a campaign so you can kind of connect and tell a story, but it's really made throw it down, do your adventure, get
Yeah.
out. Uh, which after playing through our Dungeon Alliance, more and more I'm interested in that.
Okay.
Um, even
I
though technically Dungeon Alliance, what we did was not a one
No,
shot.
it wasn't. It was a fun campaignish type thing. But I would consider that a one shot. I don't. I When I talk about campaign games, I'm talking about games that have hours and hours soaked into them to get through it. It's like you're playing that.
You do
Like,
realize it takes like 3 hours to play one game of Dungeon Alliance, right?
yes, but how many hours of Kingdom Death do I have out right now? I mean, come on, we're a little bit over halfway too. So
I don't know. Your kids weren't born when you started.
no, no, but I thought about this. I've been doing that on my channel for over a year now. Of course, I don't do a video like every day, so it's sporadic. They don't, and I shouldn't say sporadically. I usually try to get about one a weekend, but it's gone over a year now. A year of playing Kingdom Death, and I haven't lost interest in it. And that's really exciting for me that this game has kept my interest for that long. I haven't hit a point yet where I kind of thought, not really digging it anymore. So that game's awesome, and that's a huge campaign. Madara, huge campaign. I've played almost all the way through Act 1 with Steve from One Stop Co-op Shop. We've been playing it together, and it's been an absolute blast. And we've been like
Is he,
making our
is
own
he in
characters.
Minnesota?
No, he actually is out in North Carolina, but we're doing it on Tabletop Simulator. They put the entire first act out on Simulator, so we're able to play it there. And together we've been playing it through Tabletop
I'm
Simulator, which
totally
is cool.
insulted. I've not been invited. Wow.
Well, we only invite the brave, the strong, and the few. So,
Rude.
we'll have to-
I'm hoping. I mean, I reached out to Succubus, and they said yes, but who knows what happened. So they might be sending me one to put on the channel, which I'm both excited about and terrified of because where am I going to put it?
it's kind of big. I've played bigger. I have played bigger. The awesome thing about that game is that game you can paint and play. That's a paint and play game. It
I
is.
thought it was
You paint
standees. I thought all the bad guys were standees.
No, oh, well, I've got the miniature version. I don't know. Some of they have both. You can either get a standee version, I believe, or you get the miniature version, or you can have, or both come with the game, and then you can choose which one to use. Of course, I use the miniature one because I'm just that way. And so but this is what I call a paint and play game because as you're being able to play it, you have your 4 characters, you paint them up. Boom, your 4 characters ready to go. You can look in to see what you're fighting next. Oh, I'm fighting this type of monster. I will go paint that monster. Boom, you go paint the monster, you come back, and so the next day you're ready to go for that game. You play that game, you go on to the next mission, and you see, oh, it's still the same guys. I can keep playing because it's the same painted guys. And I'm going to the next one. Oh, it's got some new monster. Boom, you go and paint the monsters, you come back. It's not a flip the card and 90 monsters. Any of the 92 monsters in the box appears. The not paint and play game. This is a paint and play game. It's awesome. And not only that, the story is fantastic. I kind of like to say it's almost like a CW show you're watching, but it does get a little bit darker. I shouldn't say darker, but it gets more mature as the story progresses, from what I understand. You start off like graduating from school and things like that, so it's a little bit more in that vein. But then it gets, from what I understand, it does actually get a little bit more. I don't want to say mature because I'd hate to turn people off to it by saying it's going to be like mature, because I don't think it's going to be as mature as I'm thinking it's going to be. It's not Kingdom Death by any means.
Not much is. But what is it about the huge campaigns that
What is it
grabs
that
you? Because I guarantee if there was a big thing that came out on Kickstarter tomorrow and it said 120 hours of gameplay, you would be like, back.
That's impulse buy time. Impulse buy. Would it
I
be
mean,
my
I
regret?
guarantee you
Maybe.
back Stars of Icarios, didn't you?
I did
See?
because that looks awesome. It has a cool look. And you know what? The other thing about each of those campaigns and those big giant games I buy or back, I always want to make sure it has something that isn't in something I already own. And that's getting kind of tough because I do have a lot of these campaigns. What is it about them that I like? I love that huge story. I love that's what I'm expecting out of something like this. I'm expecting a story that I can play through and enjoy. Did I get that in Gloomhaven? Of course, a lot of people say, story is done. But of course, then you had the mechanics of the game that really made it work. And it worked with people. If I played it by myself, I don't know if I'd enjoy it as much. But the other games that I have that I've been playing by myself, the stories are incredible, and I'm really enjoying the stories. I know Kingdom Death is an odd duck in that form because they don't really have a story. It's cool because you're kind of building that story in your mind as to how this whole world works.
Yeah, but each of those kind of encounters and everything has a story to it. Like you have
right.
the Twilight Sword person who keeps coming back and shoving
killing
non-working swords in your people's hands.
And they die 3 years later.
So I mean, there is but there is story there,
Yes.
and and that's kind of where I'm with you. Like for me, I want though I'm starting to realize, do I really want 120 hours of gameplay? Maybe not, because even if the story of Gloomhaven was memorable, which it's not, over 2 years, am I really going to remember? No, I'm not.
It's amazing what you do. It's amazing what you'll remember if you playing these games. Remember these moments that happen, and then in the story, it'll discuss something that might have happened as part of that in the game. And you're like, oh my gosh, like this part where somebody almost got attacked by this monster. Oh, I just beat that monster. So it's a similar monster coming up again, and I'll remember that in the story or something. But like you're saying with Kingdom Death, the glimpses you're getting of this story through the different events and all these things is really cool. It's really, the story is really fascinating, but it has to have the mechanics. It has to have core good game. I think that's one of the issues I had again with Dungeon Saga. Its core mechanics and its story didn't work for me. If your story works for me, fantastic. That's going to pull you most of the way, but you still need to have a good game. One of my favorites is Folklore. It's a great story driven game. It has a great story. You're able to pick different topic or different choices, and these choices then affect kind of how the game develops. You're not going to miss tons of the game if you took it. It's not like a choose your own adventure where you go down this path and you never get to see this path, which I enjoy. I'm not a fan of having to not know half the story if I didn't take the path. I want to kind of see most of the stories I'm playing through. Again, losing replayability a little bit, but that's okay. When you're playing 120 hours of game, dude, it's hard to get back to. And by the time you get back to it, you might forget some of it, like you're saying. But the problem with it is I wasn't a big fan of its was a combat mechanics. And I know the updates come or the new one's coming. Actually, I get it tomorrow. I get the new uh, Kickstarter. The third installment of Folklore is coming to my house tomorrow, which would be awesome.
I
Super excited for
tried to
that.
get that one.
You did?
And I reached out to Greenbrier, and I had
Yeah.
for gosh several weeks because lockdown had just started. I was just trading emails with them for weeks. I had a great grand old time, and then everything happened. It's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna send one out, and nothing ever came. So
Oh, it's too bad.
yeah, yeah,
They,
and I'd already bugged them so much, and I'm sure they whatever forgot or whatever, or maybe they're sending me this new one. I don't know,
wow.
but I mean, I was bummed because I thought people would like seeing it.
Hmm.
Uh, but then I'd also heard that it's a ton of bookkeeping, which was kind of intimidating anyway.
It is a little bit. I think it's one of those bookkeepings that grows. So it's very similar. A lot of these games are like that, where you get like base armor, base weapon, go fight, roar. And then you maybe find an amulet on the ground. Okay, so now I got to kind of keep track of the amulet, what that does. And then maybe as you're going, you'll get a pair of boots. Okay, now I got to keep it. So it does escalate in that fashion. And they do add modifiers to dice rolls a lot. That's kind of how Folklore works. So that kind of bookkeeping can be something. It's everything about the game I love, except for the combat, which I've heard they've really worked on. So I'm excited for that one. That one will be really good. I probably have strayed totally off your path
No,
again.
no, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about what gives you, kind of like what will make you play these big games. And the other one for me, it's the characters.
Hmm.
Like it's got to be something about characters that intrigues me. I was thinking about this, like with Wander, the anthropomorphic animal, like the turtle, the freaking turtle. He looks pissed off, and he's got a huge spike shield and a mace. Like, yeah, please, I want to know about
Let's do
him.
it. Let's do it.
There's a goat that shoots fireballs. Yeah, that's
Oh,
interesting.
yeah.
Um, and even even in Dungeon Alliance, the characters we had,
Mhm.
it's not even though there's not much story to it,
Right.
their abilities
Hmm.
and their pictures and stuff told a story. And for anyone who suffered through our thing, like they became like real characters to me.
Yes, they did.
You know,
Probably some of the best intros I've ever had on my channel.
but it's just the characters will grab me, and
Hmm.
then if you have some story along with that, then okay, I want to go on this journey, and that also makes me often want to play again. Is okay, now I want to do it with the other characters,
Right.
which is another reason why I like the game like Wander so much because it's just straight up. It's like, yeah, if you want to switch out characters, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you found a really cool hammer. You want to use that with the turtle? Cool. Whatever. Switch them out.
Switch them out. Use a new guy.
Yeah. Uh, which I think is just great. Um, but yes, that's kind of that's the one that'll make me be interested in playing something. Which is why I'm surprised that I still watch your Kingdom Death videos
Really?
because well, there is no character because they're dead.
They die a lot. This is true. The character is the civilization, and you know that. It's the settlement. That's the character. that's the one who can't die. If that dies, you're done. And so all the people around it are just
You're going to
for
be
that
so
game.
depressed if you get to what is it? What do you go to 40 years? Is that what it is?
In theory, it's 20 to 25 to 30. I have to look again on the sheet. I know eventually you fight one of the characters, but then he expanded it to another 5 years with the 1.5 or 2.5 expansion that came out, and so and that came kind of with an update pack and everything. But yes, that would be
If you
pretty
get to year
disappointing.
24 and you lose it all,
And you know what? That would it's funny that people would be like, "Wow, are you able to take that?" Like, yeah, totally. That's what happens in the game. I'm sorry that happened. I mean, if you've seen any of my playthroughs, you know I'm so lighthearted about all that stuff. It actually is just it's just part of the game and you gotta live it and
it
you
may
gotta have it.
be, but when you're on year 24, if you get totally wiped and it's over, it's going to feel like a kick in the groin.
Oh. You know, I'll warn you, there are cards in that game that make me restart my settlement from day one. There are
Oof.
things that can happen in that game that can have that happen.
It's funny because the game that we were talking about, kind of off the recording, the Townsfolk Tussle,
Hmm.
which I'm doing a preview for. It's very much feels like Kingdom Death Monster Light. It's it's just boss fight, but you do 4 boss fights in a row, and the bosses progressively get stronger
Sure.
depending on what level you fight them in. So any boss can be at any point, and their card says, "Oh, you're fighting him first. He's a chump. He has no abilities. Oh, you're fighting him second. He has this ability. Oh, it's the last one. Flip the card over. Here's the whole special scenario. By the way, you don't kill him until you've done this other stuff. It's very
Oh,
cool and interesting." And I might wind up also doing a playthrough video of it. And it occurred to me, I was like, but what if I die on boss 2 like I did last time I played? Video over. Sorry.
no, that's how it goes. You know, and that's sometimes how it works. There's been game. I mean, I've I think one of my solo playthrough of Nemesis, first Nemesis game. I put like 5 on the channel. Love Nemesis, fantastic game. I'm a
It's
big
okay to
fan
be
of the
wrong.
Laser now. So it's not for everybody. I understand that. It's got the semi co-op, but they threw in a co-op, so it works. They
Yeah,
even
that's
have an
right.
app out for
So I'm
it.
going to jump in real quick with the Nemesis. I
Yeah.
played it once. Played it
Okay.
at Origin. And I almost backed it. I was like, no. I was like, semi-co-op. I don't like that. And my buddy, Streamline Matt, he almost backed it, but neither of us did it. And we were at Origins, and we're like, you know what? Someone in this room has this game right
Yeah.
now. And we just wandered around till we saw someone had it in a stack. And he came, he set it up, we played, and they were looking at me like I was the dumbest dude alive because there was one rule that he didn't clarify because I didn't ask because I would have given it away. And he was, how each person has a number, and your thing might say your objective is to make sure number 2 dies.
Yep.
Well, I was number 2, and it was make sure number 2 dies. And I was like, wait a minute, so I can, so I can win if I just die? So I just
That's
went around attacking, making as much noise as I could, attacking every alien I could find. The queen came out, and I was like, "Let's do this!" And then, of course, I almost killed it, and I was getting mad. And then, of course, I died. And at the end, like, I win. He's like, "Well, no. If that's your option, you have to do the other one." I was like,
he didn't tell you that.
"Yeah, well, we didn't think of it
Right.
because only someone as dumb as me would just assume, oh, I kill myself, I win."
I'm sure there's been others. I'm sure there's been others. Oh, that's
But
pretty
yeah, so
funny.
you did that solo on the
I
channel. I
did.
totally interrupted
It
you.
was oh no, that was an awesome story. I mean, it's actually pretty much what happened to this first playthrough. I had never put it on the channel yet. I was excited to get this out, and I played the pilot. I made it maybe a third of the way through the game, at the most. And the queen came out twice already and totally slaughtered me. I'm like, well, that's playthrough of Nemesis. I mean, I did do other ones later, but I was thinking, wow, I guess I'm showing the game off. It's a brutal game. It's tough. It's kind of like Machina Arcana when I played that one. It's brutal. It's
Oh,
a
that's
hard
hard.
game. If I did not get the items I got in my playthrough, I would not have made it. And I played it other times and not made it. I mean, that was like the first time I actually beat it. And that was the first scenario. And there's so many other ones to even play through. That's another one of those one-shot dungeon crawlers you're talking about. I mean, it's not a campaign unless you can kind of make it one, but it comes with a pack of cards that is its own story. And just like Dungeon Alliance comes with its own like
But it
campaign
does
story
feel
card,
like you get a whole complete arc as
right?
you go through.
But you can
Yeah,
play one
that's a
shot,
great, yeah.
which works really well. I love Machina Arcana. I think it's a great game. It's coming back to Kickstarter actually pretty soon.
Tomorrow,
Is it tomorrow? And I
tomorrow.
haven't had a chance to look into it completely, but I know it's got like I think it's supposed to be very similar, or they're expanding on it. I have to look into it. I'm really
Yeah,
excited for it.
I
I
think
got to
it's
look
a
at it.
it's an expansion, and they reworked some of the rules, which I think is like the thing that you could print off offline. You know, like the paper that even the designers like, yeah, no, you should print this thing off and
Yeah.
do what this says.
It was a little tough, and I actually had the honor of having them in my comment section to actually help me with some of the rules. So it really helped me show off the game in all its glory and how good this game is. Without them, it would have been a little bit more. It would have been a little tougher to make sure I had everything going right. But even like I've always said, even if you get some rules wrong here and there, as long as you're having fun, number one. That's the number one thing about playing any game is you have to have fun. And if you're not having fun, you probably should be picking a different game.
Yeah. And last one before we move on, everyone's bored. Like, oh gosh, we're so tired of dungeon crawls. No one cares. Quiet, guys. Uh, but so what are your thoughts on the ones that are the short campaign? Like so I'll go back to Wander. I think
Yeah.
Wander, it's 10 games.
Okay.
That's it. 10, you're done.
Then and
So
done.
that is 20 hours,
Sure.
something like that. What you have, if you
Yeah,
got
the
that
simple
whole
one.
week open, your wife has taken the kids out of town, and you're by yourself, no work. You got that. Are you going to dive into your Madara and just keep plugging through, or are you going to, bust out the other one? I can do this whole story in this week.
You could do that. I'd have to struggle to walk back there to find one. I either have one shots or I've got epic campaigns. I don't think I have too many. I guess like what do I even have? I guess like an Aeon's End would be. I have those campaigny type of things for that one. That was a really fun campaign that wouldn't take very long. I had the Legacy and the what is it? The New Age, where you play just the three nemesises, something like that. Nemesi, and you and basically that would be a short campaign because they do have the little deck of cards and they kind of give a little bit of a campaign feel, which is kind of cool. I like how they did that.
No, it was
Uh,
interesting because now I'm kind of, as I'm people who are actually
mhm.
watching, not listening,
Yeah,
I'm looking around and seeing which ones do I have that's a short. Oh, you can't quite see it.
no, I can't at all. It's
Uh,
it's way down there.
Arena,
Oh yeah.
Arena the contest. That's a short campaign. That
Mhm.
is because I finished the campaign once and I really want to go back and try it with new characters
Right.
and make different choices. I think it was maybe 6 games.
Yeah, it's pretty short. Colin and I over at One Stop, we've shot. For those that don't know, Colin from One Stop is actually only 15 minutes from my house. We live really close to each other. And before this pandemic extravaganza happened, we actually started to get together, kind of doing some games. After Gen Con last year, we started kind of trying to meet up a little bit. Um, and we were going to play Arena. We played through, I think, the first mission and the second one. And then we're going to do the third one, but that's when the Kickstarter came out. And so we said, hey, man, why don't we just wait? I know, again, we're waiting for
Everything.
how long for until the Kickstarter lives, but he's going to have everything. And so I thought, we've got a lot of games. We could play a game. Now, some part of me, when it comes to Kickstarter, it hurts to be the beginning of your board gaming career. Having to wait for that game to come can be a little rough and it can be hard. But if you're in a situation where I have all these campaign games already, if one gets delayed or if I'm waiting for something, I can put something on hold. I actually put Madar on hold for a while until they actually came out the 1.5 rule update so that I can make sure that I'm playing it the way they were hoping to have it played or have been. I guess they've done more play testings and listened to the community and kind of adjusted a few things. And so I want to make sure that's how I played it. So again, I put it on hold and went to a different game and came back to it just recently with Steve because the Tabletop Simulator has all that new stuff right in there ready to go. It's adjusted some of the cards and things like this. And so we put on hold. Will we get to it? Of course we will. When the Kickstarter arrives. That's when we're going to go back to it. But I mean, I guess Shadows of Brimstone that I'm playing right now, that is a one shot if you want it to be, or it can be a campaign of whatever length you want it to be. You could level your guys up to level 8 and go fight a dragon if you want. Or you could just do one mission and be like, hey, that was a lot of fun. Now let's go to a different game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I feel like in general, I'm gravitating a little more towards the shorter campaigns. Though I want to have a few other. I want to have a
mhm.
few of the others. So, but I got Oathsworn coming in
Yeah,
December. It's not coming in December. December
there's so much
2024
coming. It's
maybe.
just going to be mass chaos. There was that one month where it was 3 heavy hitters all hit at once, and I know I backed 2 of them because Colin grabbed ISO Farengard and I grabbed Anne's
And the good
Trespass.
news is I'm sure that's not showing up till 2028. So
I grabbed Oathsworn, so we have all three of those coming. I think he grabbed Oathsworn too because that's one that you don't want to have some of the stuff spoiled because part of the deal is being able to experience the story and then fighting the boss and not knowing what it is because it's
Yeah,
all sealed
yeah, you're
material.
gonna be so disappointed in me. I totally got the standees version.
That's totally fine.
I
You are
bet I bet you got the
that's
changeable
okay.
arms, didn't you?
You and they're all going to be painted. Of course, I got the arms. Oh, how awesome is that? You get to put the weapon you want on. It's just like my Kingdom Death guys. I magnetized their arms so I can put the right weapon on. Sadly, right now, all my guys are holding the wrong weapons, except for my, like, was it the Beast Knuckle guy? But all the rest
That's
of the guys are holding
embarrassing,
the wrong weapons.
really.
Yeah, I got to get new weapons, all these people, but you got to build the weapon. You got to build the parts and magnetize it. So I haven't gotten a chance to do that yet. Maybe
Yeah,
I'll do that.
so, because my goodness, we've been rambling for forever. So
Of
what
course.
well, I'm just gonna push us ahead
Let's
because I
go.
have
Keep
to.
going, man. I'm
Uh,
sorry. We're taking too much time.
well, it
Oh, let's
doesn't
go.
matter,
It'll be fun.
people can stop listening if they want.
Ah,
Uh,
how can
what
they stop listening? We're the best show on earth.
what uh, what's on your table right now?
On my table right now. Let's see here. Well, I'm going to let you take 3 guesses, and you can figure it out.
Cthulhu Death May Die.
That's right. Nope, that's Kingdom Death.
Kushi Express.
Kushi Express is right over there, thanks to you. I see it from here. It is my wife's favorite game to traumatize me with.
And you're breaking out in hives just talking about it.
She
But
beats me
no,
all the time.
so Kingdom Death's on your table.
It is kind of on my table. Actually, just took it off. I finished recording that today. I also finished recording Shadows of Brimstone today. The next thing that's actually going to be hitting my table, I have 2 things that are going to be hitting my table very soon. I'm going to probably be going here next. I've got the Nemo's War. I would like to thank Colin over at One Stop Co-op Shop. He gave me the 2nd edition of this. I actually went over to his house the other day and he taught me how to play it. And I'm excited to get it to my channel and actually try in a true co-op campaign or co-op style and love everybody fashion. I'm going to beat his score. That's my plan. That's my plan. I'm going to try to beat his score. Of course, he's a master of the game and never played it. So we're going to see how this goes. On top of that, I also have a Arkham Horror playthrough because we got those new investigator decks that came out just recently. They're all basically built decks for you. And so I'm going to try to take 2 of those people through a one-shot and see how that goes. Again, there's a one-shot for you. Arkham Horror can be a one-shot, or you can play, there's a small campaign game too, a 6-deck campaign if you wanted to. So that, again, isn't too big of a campaign to get through. I play that one. That one's a lot of fun.
That's a lot. And I'm glad you have your Kingdom Death because I'm going to grab this right here.
Oh, yeah? I'm afraid of what you're going to get.
No. Just what I had to reach behind the computer to get what's on my table.
Oh, yes. What is on your table? Oh, yes, of course. The Townsfolk Tussle, the one you're working on.
Like I said, kind of Kingdom Death Light with the people who are listening. This is going to be lame, but people watching, you see, it's kind of this kind of dark, cartoonish, creepy art style. And as you play through, there's stuff that happens in there's town events.
Sure.
Like you have your event in like one of the ones. It's a huge, thick stack. It's like this thick.
Really?
So
all
I don't
right.
feel like I'm spoiling too much, but one of the ones I had, it was you decide to race each other around the huge pile of corpses.
Why not?
Yeah.
That sounds like a game.
So it's that kind of dark, and then the person who loses the race, they twisted a muscle, so now you're worse off when you go fight this next ruffian, or there's one where it's you see a body hanging from the top of the flagpole. If you're playing with the character who can fly,
yeah,
you can go steal his hat.
His hat. So not take him down or anything, just steal his hat.
Right. So it's just this kind of tongue-in-cheek, dark, and everything is just bizarre and weird and creepy, and it makes no sense. Like one of the bad guys is the tax collector, but is literally like a old-timey alms box. Like the box suddenly sprung arms and legs, and that's like it's weird.
That's pretty awesome. I might be looking into this one. This one sounds pretty cool.
It is. It's I've only played twice, and the first time I played, I was like, oh, this is really, really easy. Turned out I just rolled really, really well for one game because then this next time I played, I didn't even get to the end.
Didn't even get to the end.
No, not even close. Got smashed. Which was great. Which was great, I think. But let's talk about
that's our table. That's our
Huh?
table.
Yeah, that's our table.
That's our tables. You
Yeah,
can meet me at mine sometime if you want. Get it? That's my joke. Oh,
good.
pretty good, huh?
That's good. Anybody who's just listening, you can see the utter amazement at that joke on my face right now. But Dungeon Alliance.
Yes.
So, for anybody who doesn't know, we did one of the adventure packs, which is you play through 4 games, and there's an overarching story. It's not a huge story. It's kind of more of like a skeleton of a story. And in the game, you're drafting cards. It's a deck building, Euro style dungeon crawl. And so you're buying cards into your deck, and you can buy story cards that advance the story and so on. And so we did one of those. He did the first and the third game. I did the second and the fourth. And part of the fun of it, to me, is the drafting of your alliance and kind of just picking who it is you're going to have and then trying to work with them. But now that we have played with the expansion and an adventure pack, I know you've never played it competitive. I actually think it's probably quite a good competitive game for 2 people.
All right.
Otherwise, it's going to take forever.
Sure.
And just a one shot, because the way the competitive works is it's whoever finishes with the most experience points at the end.
Right.
Winds up being the winner, and if you get knocked out, you get negative experience points.
Sure.
But talking co-op, now that you've experienced it as well as you're going to experience it for the moment, what do you think?
What I think that there's no way I'm ever playing it without the scenario packs. Those were so awesome. Those adventure packs are really cool. Even if I'm just going to play one shot, I would just love to throw it in there because it feels like that's how you're going to learn about why you're in that dungeon. Otherwise, you're just going in the dungeon. Like for the Lost Alliance, like, oh, we're going to rescue the Lost Alliance. Even if I only got one member of the Alliance, it's like, oh, cool, I was able to rescue that Alliance member. Of course, then it wouldn't be. Again, I'm guessing those can't be used in competitive then at all, could they?
There is some way that you can do competitive,
Yeah.
and you play through the whole campaign. I don't know what it is because it's not something I'm interested in doing.
Right. Right. Again, I would only do competitive one shots. That'd be probably the best bet. But I do really enjoy those scenario packs. I think they're fantastic. I think they add so much. I think I even said this when I did it. Unbelievable amount of replayability in there because even like we were lucky enough to get all 4 of those alliance members, but you might not because they're hidden inside a deck that just randomly you draw from. And so it's really cool to kind of see some of the story. Of course, we saved the alliance member. We never actually fought any of the bosses that the alliance members got taken from. And it was really cool because one was a worm but we had to free one from a cocooned thing. So it was like that ties together. There was the
The Spider Queen, and
yeah.
the Spider Queen we saved another one from. And
Yep.
the Slayer, I don't know what was up with the Slayer guy.
Well,
So.
he's probably the one that killed that guy and left him in the corner.
Oh, that's a good point. And
He probably does.
I chose not to fight him at the end. I had the option, and I was like, you know what?
Brutal.
I'm leaving.
That's right. I'm out.
And I just left early.
Peace out. See ya.
Because which was interesting because like that one. So total spoilers if for a little thing, but whatever. That was a total story moment for me
Mm-hmm.
because to me, I was looking at it as one, I didn't know if I could win because one of my members had been killed and we were playing with the permadeath
Mm-hmm.
variant, which I think is the way to play, unless you're doing competitive. If you're doing the campaign, I think it's absolutely the way to play. But there's that. But then I was like, gosh, and like, how demoralizing is that? Like, they killed the big bad thing. Like, do they really want to go chase down the lieutenant when their dumb orc friend just died? Like, like probably not.
Oh, poor guy.
And so I was like, we're out. We're just leaving. We killed the Titan. We're done. We're out of here. And I don't know if I hadn't been playing with those 4 characters. Well, only 2 games, but and then watching. So for 4 games, I don't know that I would have done that. I was like, whatever. Who cares?
Yep.
But I didn't want the others to die.
Yeah, you had gotten attached to them finally. You've played all those games. You've learned their story. You've gotten even I bet when you're drafting cards, you're thinking, oh, this is the kind of card that goes with this guy. It kind of fits really cool with how I've already built this character.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And I think that's the beauty of those adventure packs. Is it made and I don't know what's going to get put out first, but in my review of it, I said, I thought the game was a solid B plus solo experience
Hmm.
before the adventure packs, and I played it a couple times, and I think I maybe played 5 times, and then it's been on my shelf, and I impulse backed those adventure packs because I wanted to like the game a lot.
Nice.
Uh, but yeah, boy, so like I've been bugging you for 2 weeks.
Hmm.
Like, let's set it up on tabletop simulator and
Sure.
let's do it because I just found out he's putting all the expansion stuff on the simulator.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'll have to go check that out. I
yeah.
uh, I got my copy because I actually watched the second Kickstarter and I watched Colin's playthrough of it, and I was like, that game looks kind of cool. I'm pretty excited about that, and so I backed it with all the bells and whistles you saw. I had the mat even going on too because you need to have the mat in order to play. I guess
You made
some
that
people
horrible choice.
don't.
You got the 3 and 4 player mat too, didn't you?
I did.
That is never going to happen.
Never. I might use it for other games just have a mat down.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that I would want to play that game at 3 or 4 players with.
Well, you know what we'll do? We
It
will
would
get
just take
together
all
for a
day.
huge game. Was a game convention day? We'll set a whole day aside, play 4-player Dungeon Alliance. Can you even imagine that? I'd have to bring a book to read while I'm playing that game.
Yeah, and like maybe we would finish. Maybe
Yes.
like
I
that.
think probably the hardest part is the fact the turns can potentially take a good chunk of time. And I think that's where a lot is lost when it comes to playing with a lot of players, which is something that a lot of dungeon crawlers have problems with. That I think is hard to potentially get around unless you can find a way. Is they do have a tendency to sometimes have people sit and watch while the other people are taking their turn, and you just kind of have to roll with it. The less people, of course, you're playing with, the less you have to deal with that. It's kind of tough, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
I think it's
Well, I mean,
cool.
and I mean, in Dungeon Lands, that's a heavy game. I
Yeah,
mean, it's a
there's a
lot
lot of
going
math. There's a lot of math. There's a lot of like thinky. If I put this with this in order to get this bonus, then it should be enough. See, because a lot of the time they took out a lot of the luck element in that game where when it comes to Madara, it's like, all right, I'm going to run in there with my sword and I'm going to roll these 2 dice and hope I get enough to actually do something. And if I don't, well, we'll try to mitigate what that thing's about to do to me. It's not, okay, so I need to get a total of 8. How am I going to get 8 in order to take that thing out in one shot, which is what Dungeon Alliance does.
Yeah,
It makes
and
no
yeah,
sense.
I have said multiple times like that. People see Gloomhaven's the Euro dungeon crawl, which I don't agree with because you have those little cards you're flipping, which are
Modifier.
basically dice.
Hmm.
It's basically dice because you can get a crit.
Yeah.
Not
And sure, you can modify it unlike a dice, but that's beyond the
yeah,
point.
but there is three bad guys that roll a die
Hmm.
and one item that lets you roll a die. And that is it. I mean, you
Yep.
can choose to roll a die to unlock a door, but you don't even have to do that. You can just use all your movement and unlock the door.
Right.
So like that is just
You can take
pure
the luck
Euro.
out if you want to,
Yeah, which is
for the most
so
part.
yeah. So I mean, I like it. But I never want to play that in more than and I'm questioning we might be miserable playing that at 2 players on
We'll have to
quad
give it
because
a shot sometime.
yeah, but it's so much. It is so much going on. And even at the end, as I would go back and I'd be like, oh yeah, I screwed that up. Oh yeah, no, that's not right. Nope.
It happens. Again, did you have fun? All that matters. You
Yep.
get a couple rules wrong here and there. It don't matter as long as you're having fun. That's
Yeah,
the
but
glory of board games.
yeah, so where do you put that in
Where
your?
do I put that? I put that on my shelf and I bring it out every once in a while when I decide, I haven't played a one shot in a while. But again, I've got so many back there that I haven't had a chance to play. I've got Deep Madness, another one that's a one shot kind of campaign. If you wanted to, you can link the scenarios, but nothing carries over. So I've got all that back there to play that I haven't had a chance to play. Again, that's a hard game to paint because it's one of those not sure exactly what my enemies are going to be coming out. So
Well, then you just keep drawing until you get ones that are painted.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I'll get right on that. That'd be the way to play the game.
Yeah, well, my biggest fear the whole time playing Dungeon Lands was that you were going to kill somebody and I was going to have to paint a new one.
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about walking into a room with, I don't know, a giant ogre and thinking I'm going to kill him. And I go, oh no, I didn't have enough. I didn't add the numbers right. Oh, well, so much for Caldrax.
I totally did that in one of them where I thought I had a great plan. I was like, oh, I did 1 damage. Huh.
Oh,
Oh
see,
well.
you didn't step back from the table for an hour looking at your board.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think for me, I think it's with everything
Hmm.
and only one or two players.
Yep.
I put it in my top couple of dungeon crawls.
All right.
It's if I got somebody who's willing to sit down and play
Yeah.
for a while and is willing to think, like, I'd never ask my wife to play ever. Um, it's up there, I think. I'll be curious if it gets any more support after this. I feel like it's kind of run its course,
Yeah.
you know.
I think you got enough to play with, so it's hard to imagine a lot more coming out for it. Um, and really, like I said, those scenarios pack makes it. I've got 4 more scenario packs. I would be more than happy to play those. I have no problem playing those scenario packs. I think they're great, and I would play a 4-part campaign to do it again. I thought it was a lot of fun. Like I said, I got a lot of other stuff on my back on my shelves I haven't played yet, so I'd like to get those to the table first. It's not something I would reach for all the time to have to play it. There's a
No,
lot of
no.
setup,
Well, it's too
lots of
long.
setup.
It's oh my gosh, the setup.
It's a lot. But of course,
It's
again, do we want to talk setup with dungeon crawlers? Because we're talking astronomical numbers on almost all dungeon crawlers.
I don't think I think I think Dungeon Alliance is the heaviest setup dungeon crawl I got.
All right.
More, well, I'm gonna say more than Gloomhaven. We had the organizer for that,
Yep.
and my buddy, he always set it up,
Okay.
so that wasn't bad for me. I
That's
would go
funny.
grill something, and
That's
he
how
would
my
set up.
friends are. They come over. I'm the one who sets up the mission, and then they all get here. Everything's laid out. All they have to do is just play. And then when we beat it, then they'll go play like the Switch or PlayStation or something. While I set up the next mission and get it all set to go, and be like, "Okay, we're ready to go." And I'll read them like the 20-second story part. They're like, "Okay, here we go," roar, and we go right back into it again. So that's
Well,
that's 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 something.
so what do you have that's a heavier setup? Maybe Arena of the Contest. Maybe. I don't even think so.
It's um I would say every game, Sword and Sorcery. I mean, I've got Sword and Sorcery back there. Another great dungeon crawler. That's got a decent setup time.
Yeah, there's a
Folklore's got a
lot of
decent
stuff.
setup time. Um, and my wife really enjoys that one, so we have been playing Folklore together. Uh, Madara has a decent amount of setup time. You got to go to the right page of the book. You got to set everything up. But again, all this can be done. Most of that kind of stuff can be done pre-game before the people come. And so to me, that doesn't count as setup. What counts as setup is having to do it during the game. If there's a lot of stuff you have to do during the game, that's where it gets to be an issue. Uh, for me at least, I don't mind putting games and taking games down. Heck, I set up Shadows of Brimstone today, recorded it, pulled it down. Set up Kingdom Death Monster, videoed it, pulled it down. And now I'm going to probably put Arkham Horror up next, play it, record it, pull it down. So it's just I have no problem pulling games off and on. It's kind of fun to kind of put games away and experience how they all got to put the box. You get to play the puzzle of put the things in the box.
The reason I say Dungeon Line is such a heavy setup is that is the first game that I consistently
Hmm.
would set up before I went to bed,
Yes.
and then I'd play the next day. Because
Yep.
otherwise, that was an extra 40 minutes
Yeah.
that
If you
I
have
was going
good places to hold those tokens, that's really a lot of the setup right there, is that token stuff. And I've got these really cool, clear things you stick on top of this black holder thing that holds all these tokens. I probably should have put it on my camera. I never even thought about it. People could have saw what it was. Colin introduced me to them, and I was like, those things are awesome. And so I was able to put every token in 2 of these. And so when I was reaching for them, it's just I knew exactly where they were. I just covered them, put them back. I mean, they're still in the Dungeon Alliance game. So when I come to set this thing up again, they'll just hit the table. I
no
don't have to
fair.
worry about
I
the
just
tokens.
had piles of stuff all over my table just off the camera, and that was after like really really taking my time and setting that thing up. Um, but yeah,
Yep.
I think it's a good game. I like it. If you're gonna get everything,
Yes.
get it all.
I would get it all. I wouldn't skip a beat on it. I would get it all if you're going to get it, because just those expansion packs and the extra, it's just everything adds so much more to that game.
And it's not that bad cost at the
No,
end of the day because most of the bad guys are all cardboard tiles.
everything's cardboard except for the characters.
Yeah, so that's 21, 21 miniatures.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Not bad at all. But do you have any closing thoughts, words of wisdom for the one person, probably your wife, who's still listening to this? My
Words
wife
of
knows.
wisdom. The only words of wisdom I have is just make sure if you're playing board games and you're looking, just have fun, enjoy the game, enjoy the time. That's what they're all for. There's nothing else they're there for. The stories that these provide, even if the thing doesn't have a story, you can tell to other people, is what it's all about. I love being able to play a campaign and talk with other people about it, and they can just go off about like, oh, is that what happened to you when you got to that? This is what happened to me, and then can you believe what happened to the story? This happened to this person. So, you know, campaign games are fun. I enjoy them. My channel has a lot of them. I'm actually thinking about moving more towards a little more one-shotty things to just fuel a different fire for a little while. Because I've been, like I
Because you
said,
can't have 12 full-on campaigns going at the same time.
no, max I can do is 2. I got Shadow of Brimstone and Kingdom Death Monster.
Yeah,
That's the most I can do.
But everybody, if you haven't subscribed to his channel, then you should. You'll find a link down in the description, at least on YouTube, wherever you're listening to this. I don't know if that's going to be there.
I haven't social media'd much. I don't have I have a Facebook page, but I don't use it as much as I should. I'm one guy. I work. I got kids, got family, got games. I really just do the YouTube. That's all I got time for. I know, sadly, don't do the Instagram, don't do the tweeting, don't do the Facebook. I got to hire somebody to do all that.
But he will Snapchat with you.
I will. What? No, I don't think I'll do that.
It's very racy. It's horrible.
Oh, that's fantastic. No, I don't have Snapchat either. Don't have anything.
But check out the channel, subscribe. If you go on, watch one of his videos, leave your commentary of whatever he did you thought was dumb. He will always respond. He will always be gracious in true Midwest fashion.
This is true. This is true.
And thank you all so much for watching or listening. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Say goodbye.
Oh, thank you all for watching and have a wonderful time. I look forward to meeting you at the table. Roar!
It's amazing how bad your child is at Mario.
Yeah, that was something else, I'll tell you. He's definitely not a chip off the old block. No, I'm kidding. I haven't even played the game yet.